YouTube. I hope you're ready.
Which means... Ooh, I don't know. Whoa. Oh, I just got a cap. Gonna make me choke to death on that. Laughing so hard.
Oh, there we go. Do you want the end of it? Do you want...
There you go. That's fine.
Stick it in the hole.
You got it. Wow. You caught it? Wow.
I caught it with my legs. Anyways, Avon, the Ultra in sheer light peach.
Wow.
Yeah. We're gonna hurry up and throw it on and get it on the thingy. You're supposed to be up on. What's today? National. Oh, today was National.
Shower with a friend day.
And it's National Wear Red Day.
I guess there is a nothing passing shower with a friend day, I guess.
Why skip it? Alright. We're going on Facebook.
There's that funky slide
Magic.
guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday. I don't know where the batteries go. There was a whole bunch of them laying up here.
I think you do this intentionally, so I don't talk.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we're. Oh, here's. Are them good? There's some on the. See if those are any good. Every Monday through Friday on IE Newswire.
As always, we're prepared.
There you go. Here you.
Yeah,
Well,
hi. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
That was a
Actually, in
setup.
my headphones. On that, as we do every live at 5 on Twitch, Facebook, and
On YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and share us all over your world, and head over to our Twitch account and hit that purple follow button.
there you go.
And follow us on Instagram too. 'Cause
It's
why
a
not?
fantastic, fun Friday coming up.
It is.
On that, lots of stuff as usual coming on. Even some bizarre stuff as the world turns in our society to every day. It's just when you think things couldn't get any weirder.
Does it?
On top, oh yeah.
What did I miss?
Let's
Cardi
see.
B posted a image of her on Instagram wearing heels and peels. That's very interesting. Did you see that one? No.
Former WWE wrestler Tyler Rex comes out as trans female Gabby Gabe Tough. Well,
What?
Gabby Gabe Tough. Of that.
Gabby Gabe
Tough.
Tough.
There's a picture in the mirror of former wrestler Tyler Rex. Now Gabby Gabe Tough.
I think both are hot. I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to say that, and that's going to be my only comment. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to have more to say.
Weird. No, both of them are weird. That just doesn't look.
Why are
that
they
doesn't-
both weird?
I wonder how much it costs Gabby Gabe Tough Tyler Rex.
I think the name is weird. I mean, let's pick a better name.
I wonder how much it costs to have a rack that size.
About 3,000. Not that I've looked into it or anything, but
Well, you knew that one right off the bat without batting an eye.
I think most women know that. Okay, just it's a thing that people do. But I mean, you can go to Mexico and get it cheaper right here.
How much is the price in Mexico?
Probably like $1,000. But I mean, they're gonna be like, right. Wow,
You're killing me
I
on the
am.
yes, you're choking me to
I'm
death
sorry.
every day with the crack up stuff here
My
coming
bad.
on.
But no, really, that
This is in the yeah. Go ahead.
I don't even know what to say.
This in the Daily Mail, WWE, vet Gabby Tote shares she is not sexually active with her wife Priscilla after coming out as a transgender woman. There is the pictures of that. Now, I guess from what I'm picking up on this, he hasn't divorced his previous wife, Priscilla, which he is pictured to in his old days.
Wow.
As a guy. On top of that.
That's just day and night. Go back up.
The new life of the star revealed has not been sexually active with his wife Priscilla after being married for almost 20 years. No kidding.
Go down more. I want to see the other. Oh, okay, right there. No, I just want to see that one.
That was.
I don't know what that is, but
that's here. Freed. She has been finally set free and ready to rule her own world. Press release explained. So it looks like she's got some younger guy or something doing it. Now, you consider this guy hot, or this guy just looks completely freaking. I think steroid over.
There is a such thing as too much muscle for me personally. I know people dig it, and that's great. Go you, but that's.
Yes, you don't get into that kind of without taking.
But
to
isn't
my
he
opinion,
like a wrestler or something?
Yes, Tyler Rex, the WWE wrestler. You don't get in that kind of swole looking look unless you're doing roids.
You think so?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Look at there. He's probably not as roided
Look at
up.
this one, guy or girls. Go back up.
As that.
Let the chicks see it.
Of that. There, but you
See,
can.
that looks healthy. That looks it looks like it's natural. The other one didn't. I mean, it's still too much for me. Like.
That is good. But no,
me.
you can see the evidence of him taking roids on this one. This is where he's like crashing in this picture.
Is it just because he's having a bad hair day?
No. That's the roids taking effect of the long. To me, in my opinion, and I'm no medical doctor or give medical advice, that's the long-term effects of taking the roids. Here, he's starting to take the roids. He's probably maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years into it. This, he's probably 10 or 15.
What makes it like the veins?
Yeah, you can see that. You can see the actual skin. You see the even more puffed up, but you're seeing the skin starting to wrinkle. You can see the difference in his face just from that, and the hair going all of
Doesn't it make their thing not work? That's probably why it's not.
It shrinks your.
That's probably why it's not active with his wife.
That was the whole thing about.
The whole
remember what Barry Bonds? Well, Hank Aaron just passed away. He broke Babe Ruth 714, went to 755, and then Barry Bonds, who was on the roids, apparently all that during the day, broke Hank Aaron's home run record. But that's what he said. You could see how his head is getting bigger, and according to everybody, and as you do long term roid use, your unit and testicles start getting smaller.
But then you go purchase a new rack, and
let's put it this way: the big head gets bigger, and the small head gets smaller.
Well, that's one way to put it. I just
did you understand that?
I did.
Thank you.
But I don't like the name. That's the part that gets me the most out of this whole thing. Like, why do all that? And then they come up with, like, the weirdest names. You know?
I guess, and this is the headline of that, and this is the press release. Gabe Tuff, former WWE superstar ring name Tyler Rex, makes her long-awaited gender reveal exclusively on Extra TV. So I guess if you want to really check this out, it's going to be on Extra TV. Count me out of watching the Extra TV of the whole thing. The whole thing is bizarre, and again, just my opinion. Yeah, probably the roid use and stuff of all that. Probably to that. I'm gonna say my opinion contributed to his doing all this sort of wacky, weird stuff, and then going the whole tilty thing on the deal.
But no, that's great. If you to come be a celebrity like that and then come out. I mean, you can only imagine the backlash that she is now getting. She did not pay enough for those things on her chest either. Just saying. They're probably stuffed. I wonder if they chopped off the unit.
I would apparently so.
You think so?
That's what it looks like.
But then, okay, you cut it off.
Well, I guess
You
if the whole story with the roids, it probably wasn't much there to chop off.
It probably
anyway.
fell off, which I guess that would save you $1 or $2. But now do
You're
you then
make me choke again.
Then do you put a hole? Like, do you just push it inside? Like, what happens there? I mean, can't you just shove it in? No. I'm so serious.
Actually, from my understanding,
That's what a female is.
They actually put the female vagina in. They chop your unit off, and they put the female vagina inside of you. Rebuild it like.
But isn't a female's vagina just a?
I wonder if they take it off a dead body.
No,
or
just
something.
like a flipped inside out penis. Like I thought. I don't know. I skipped all that in school.
The first law of holes is...
I don't know how to do that. And it makes for a good show, so, whatever.
Going back on that. So if you want to avoid the weird world of Tyler, Rex, Gabby, Tufts, whatever on that, this is something we posted on IE Newswire. I think this one we did the other day.
Yes.
133 shares, another big one on the old deal. What most teenage boys did before video games. And it looks like about a 74 vintage Dodge Charger, I'm going to say, going up there, hoisting it looks like a new engine because it's nice and painted. It looks like they're hoisting a new engine in the Dodge, going up in that. And I'm going to say, okay, it's probably in the 70s or early 80s vintage photo of going on of two boys working on this. What strikes me of this, as you see the chain fall is attached to a tree, which they're lowering, it appears they're lowering the new engine on of that, standing on the fender well of the Dodge, getting ready to put the engine in. What strikes me, if you took that picture today and posted it on the social media networks, you would probably say, oh, the tree branch may break. Oh, you can't stand on the fender well of the car. You might slip. This isn't safe. And on and on and on. So, teenage boys and whatever, boys and girls of all ages, it seemed like, go play video games, because if they attempted to do anything close to that in this day and age, if the parents didn't put a kibosh on it, society would be calling the cops probably on you and everything else what's going on. To me, this is a caricature. Like I said, politics reflects culture. And again, this is showing the difference between the culture then versus today, and it's very easy to see why good, bad, or indifferent, why we're dealing with the circumstances we are in 2021.
You're so negative. I don't believe any of that would even happen. Who would freak out if there was people working on a car? Where do you get this from? I want to go slap them.
I get this from today. Even kids, if they get on a bicycle, this is not safe.
You're totally using my kids as an example. And you wonder why I get pissed off at you sometimes. I don't know. I think kids are cautious now. Parents are cautious now. It's a different world. You need to accept that. When are you, Roy, going to accept the world we live in now?
If that's the world we're living in, no, I am not going to accept it.
Obviously, you talk about every show.
Because kids should be outside.
Building cars.
They should be playing soccer. They should be, doing riding bicycles, hiking, going somewhere. And as they become teenagers, should be out there lifting the engine out or working on their cars or something instead of playing video games 24/7, 365.
Did you forget that we're in a COVID shutdown?
A COVID shutdown does not prevent you
from having people over and working on cars.
Correct!
Yes, it does.
Piss on them. And if they want to, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, I that's why I preface it. That's the difference between our culture, how our culture has changed over the vast amount of decades. So over the past few decades, it's became a society where we're afraid to do anything, so we do nothing.
Yes, nothing. Damn you. All right.
It's like let them play. The whole thing.
I love them. They're awesome.
That. When you have the ability to do that and let them play, but then you take that ability away or take that opportunity away from kids, that's why we can go on with the list of articles ad nauseum how our kids are just getting mentally wigged out over all this stuff. And it is because we as a society are letting this happen. I was talking to a teacher yesterday. I didn't get a chance to roll that one in, but since we are today, we're talking about the schools and opening and closing and that. And he said, you can just about bank on this. He said, this is happening in my school. And I said, I've checked with teachers up and down the state, even out of state, that are closed down. He said, you can pretty much say it. The older the teacher, the more they want to go back to class. The youngest teachers, zip zada nothing, let's stay out on that. And he says you can almost go to that from the age group down. And he said the reason, and if they poll the union membership, they're going to say, oh yeah, we don't want to go back to class because there's more younger teachers than there are older ones. Duh. So he said that's why you're seeing the and this is my point. The teachers union represents the teachers. And they represent the current thinking of the teachers because they're polling and getting in all this stuff back and forth. And that's what their only job is, to represent their workforce. Nothing else, not about education, anything else. So that's what he was explaining to me of why you're seeing what you're seeing in this stuff. Because I'm saying, well, what's the scoop on this thing? What are you seeing on the ground level on that? And that's how he explained it to me. And it's the difference. It's like this. The difference between the age 70s, 80s, or 90s would be kids went out and done stuff. Teenagers went out and experienced life. Today, they're locked in, going to the default, world. And then when it comes to Zoom, I can almost guarantee you, if this COVID thing would have happened in 1970 or 80, they might have buffaloed it by the parents of the time for a couple of weeks like they were talking about. But after about 2 weeks, the school board would be jam-packed with parents saying, like the man said in West Virginia, if you don't get this thing opened as in yesterday, we will find somebody who will. And that's the difference today. The vast majority of parents will not stand up for their kids. Or like this, or that's their culture, or that's the way it is. But that's why you see, and of that, that's why you see what you see today.
No comment.
The next one, the one we posted today, and again, let's go back 100 years ago to the 20s, Great Depression. Well, 29, 30, the crash was in 29, so 89 years, whatever. During the Great Depression, a lot of farmers in the United States were unable to pay their mortgages and had their homes foreclosed later when the bankers tried to sell off farms at public auctions. The previous owner and the rest of the community would show up with guns. Original owner would bid ridiculously low amount of money, and anyone with stones big enough to bid any higher would get their ass kicked in. The original owner would walk away with their farm back and only a couple of dollars lost for their troubles. They called these penny auctions. I call it bringing a community together. And that's the difference. You want to go back 100 years, 50 years to today, you can see, and as I've said, culture drives the politics, not the other way around. We have a caller on the line.
Hello.
Yes, what's up, Pop?
Oh, not much. I was going to say, you wouldn't want to know what we did when we were kids.
Again, yes. I mean, and that's why I went. And I don't know if you heard the example I did of the deal back in the Great Depression, but
No.
it was, and that's what I brought up while you were calling in. Back in the day, when the bank, after the crash and everything, and the bankers were trying to auction off they'd auction off a farm. All the local residents showed up at the auction with guns and said, okay, the original owner would bid like $2.50, and if anybody else was there, they were going to get their ass kicked or worse. So they wound up getting their farms and their properties back that were, over this. And you remember the Great Depression was the first stock market crash with crisis that we suffered today. But they got their farms back because, as they said in there, they called them penny auctions today. Today we should be calling it, or it could be more properly framed, bringing the community together.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, if they knew how we took our guns and stuff to school all the time and left them in the cars so we could go out and shoot stop signs and everything else that we used to do, and there would be 5 or 6 of us in an old 36 Ford with the top cut out, and everybody standing up on no seats in it, standing up shooting all over everywhere because there was nothing out here,
Well, and again, that was the overriding culture of the day. Nobody, and for the most part, the reason why nobody lipped off at anybody, because you didn't know what the other, you didn't exactly know, but you probably presumed, if you got out of shape too far, this thing might be going on because it might escalate, like in the 20s and 30s when the farmers and property owners said, okay, this is, Mr. Banker, this is the way this thing is probably going to go down. And when he saw the mob with the guns and everything, he said, yes, I think I agree with that.
Well, we used to, like I say, I remember, my brother was going to Poly and I was going to university, junior high, and we'd have all the guns, they'd have them all over there, and the guns sit all day in the parking lot over there at Poly High. Nobody touched them because everybody knew whose gun was whose.
Yes.
You didn't want to have somebody else's gun.
Yes, the penalty for if somebody found you with somebody else's, they probably weren't calling the cops at the particular time.
No, you didn't have to worry about the cops. The guy wish he wouldn't have done that.
Yes, the cops might be called after you retrieved your firearm that was illegally taken from you, and the cops might have been called to come in and clean up the mess that was left afterwards on that. And the person who stole it probably got the message that wasn't a good idea, and 98.7% of the time they didn't do it again.
No, they didn't do that no more. Everybody, they talk about respect. They had respect back then. Now everybody, what do you got? If they did this today, it'd be over.
Yes. And that's and again, like I say, you can see how society has evolved over there. And of today, like I say, if it's like a panic, don't do anything, we're afraid to do anything or somebody's taking a cell phone picture of you or complaining or doing all this other stuff, and then, wonder why kids are the only thing they're allowed to do is play video games and that, because we've created this cocoon society where, or this Alice in Wonderland society that we're trying to do, or Utopia, where there is nothing bad ever happens, nothing ever does that, we can just wish bad away, and if we never take a risk, we will never have anything bad for you, which is maybe possibly true, except, what bad's going to come? It's going to become in the society that you have, and you will be one of the serfs. And, being on that. The 21st century slaves, well, as I first said, were the illegal aliens. But the 21st century slaves going forward are going to be those who are going to bow down to this whole deal. And if it's like the school example and everything, as the generations go, if they don't stand up, that's where this thing is headed.
Well, when you acted up in school when I was a kid, you got up to the men's room and you got laid out on their cot there, and you felt the Board of Education. Hey, you want to do that too many times because
yeah, you got the message of that. Yes, you got the message of that you shouldn't be doing that sort of stuff too much longer. We got to run.
Go.
Yeah, we're getting
Bye.
to the bottom of the hour. Got to run, Pop. Thanks for calling in.
Bye.
No, do you see the difference? I mean, you can see good, bad, or indifferent, and I'm not arguing. You know, you accept the culture of today. Well,
You are completely arguing. You're completely.
of that. Well, no, I don't accept the culture of, we'll never take a risk.
I think those exist other places. You're just not living where they do. You know what I mean?
But they're ever increasingly becoming like the old teachers versus the young. The old teachers.
I don't believe that either, though, because every teacher I know wants to go back to class. But I mean, maybe. We'll open soon. I have faith. You need to have a little faith.
Again, when I see the reports and the evidence of all the teachers' unions across the nation are that what the teacher relayed to me is much more closer to what's going on than that, because they're the final cog. Even Gavin Newsom saying, and Lori Lightfoot of Chicago are saying, we've had enough of this. Actually only because, in my opinion, it's affecting their political careers. www.recallgavin2020.com is a place to start. Download the petition, sign it, get it in. We got about 5 more weeks to go to get to, I say, 2 million signatures. So we got it on the ballot to get him out of there, and then we can start turning this whole enchilada around. I won't argue with that one.
You know what I do miss, though? Send me burger.
Yeah, that's an.
No one can bring that back. See, this is... Stop complaining about the video games. Let's start complaining about all the good places that shut down. Send me burger was one of them.
Wouldn't that be called negative, complaining about the places that are...
I'm requesting if they open back up. I will go and support them. I wish I would have went and bought more hamburgers.
Again,
Makes me sad.
again, like I said...
Before this whole shutdown, though, so I don't know.
But it's the culture of, and it's even just been accelerated, the rules and regulations and this and that have made, we've had a consolidation of small businesses over the last decades. And I mean, the COVID thing is that, who's making all the money? Bezos at Amazon, all these mail order places, Google, and all that are selling your information, are doing this e-commerce, and Walmart and all the e-commerce place or big box stores that are being allowed to remain open while the mom and pop businesses are being closed. And you're seeing an acceleration of this with the COVID. The COVID has nothing to do with the flu season. If, as we said, and we put the statistics out when Dr. Kelly Victory was on Tuesday, and we put it out, and I think Steve started the question of that, but we put it out. And if you take the CDC statistics, of 6% of all COVID deaths are only related to COVID, had no other precondition. So you're at about 25,000. So in the previous flu virus seasons in the last decade, or for however long it goes back, according to Dr. Kelly Victory, flu deaths, if it was listed as flu death, that was the only factor that was in that death. And in the last decade, we had a low of about 20 and a high of about 80 or about 90,000. So in this year, in the last year, in 2020, the year we have full statistics on, the last year we have full statistics, at 24,000, we are on the low end of the flu virus season of deaths, solely as if we're comparing apples to apples, as we have in every other decade. We are on the low end of the scale for deaths in 2020, in the last decade. So why are we going, again, it circles back to why I started with this. We're taking something that should not even have been on the radar screen, and we're blowing it into making you conform, what they are doing is stripping away your wealth. You're going to find this out one way or the other. The whole stimulus and all this, yeah, it might have been a heroin shot to get that stimulus check or whatever, but you're going to find out what the consequences when that bill comes due, and it ain't going to be pretty when all this stuff hits the fan.
Don't you have to pay that back though on taxes?
I don't think they're making you claim the stimulus check on your taxes. They could. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. Of that.
Hey guys, how's it going? We're about 1 minute out. Hi, Stephanie.
A minute left of that. To flip up number 4, please, because I will stay with this. Maybe we'll do it on the other side.
I can't hear you very well, Stephanie.
That's
Roy muted my mic. That's the second time on the show today he's done that.
Wow.
I know.
It's a good thing the Pinocchio rule is not in effect.
I don't know what you're talking.
Somebody would have a very long nose at this point.
Apples and chocolate chips. Can't go wrong with it. What are we doing? Kevin Kiley.
Just like that, we're at
30 seconds.
1.4 million signatures, and as we reported yesterday and counting. That hopefully by when we come back on next week, Monday or Tuesday, we'll be at the 1.5 threshold, and we'll be just collecting all the extra ones we need to make sure recallgavin2020.com.
All right, guys, here we go. 10 seconds. Flyking.com. IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday at 5:30 on the Mighty Met, 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire on the AM Broadcasting Band. Join your vast video audience on IE Newswire on Twitch, Facebook, and
On YouTube! Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and share us all over your world, and head over to our Twitch account, hit that purple follow button, check us out on Instagram, and go to KMET1490am.com if you want to catch the stream on there. And you can download us on your SoundCloud. And you can get the app for all your Apple and Android devices. So we're everywhere. You have no reason to not listen.
I love that.
There you go.
And that's exactly right. Just flip up number 4, please. I want to get duck that back in again. You ask, am I feeling it? Is Gavin Newsom going to be recalled? As it is on there, California Governor Gavin Newsom recall is unavoidable. Newsom's poll numbers are tanking, and the recall effort has attracted 1.4 million signatures, as reported on Gateway Pundit. And Kevin Kiley posted on Twitter, and just like that, we're at 1.4 million signatures. We need 1.5 good one. Good. So if we got about 4 or 5 more weeks to collect, about 600,000 more, so we need about 100. Still at the same pace we're going, about 150,000 a week. It will have up to 2 million because you need some extra because some of them are invalidated and yada yada, and play the politics of that stuff.
But do they tell you if your signature was off? Like, what if my signature was bad? I don't know why.
No, they
not
won't
saying
tell
it would
you.
be.
They'll just reject that. So what they do.
But
is,
then will people get a record of that so they can go and tell Sandra, hey, your signature was sloppy?
It's real.
That's shady.
On a recall petition or a petition like that to put something on the ballot. No, it's basically pretty much solely at the discretion of the registrar of voters in each county of doing that. It's not like if you ran for office, it's a little more detailed and you can have your people challenge it and everything else, or if you want to do a recount or something and doing that. But on doing a recall or qualifying.
So if your signature was wrong, you wouldn't know.
No
one would notify you. Nobody would have record like, hey,
nope,
Roy
They'll just
drop the
go
ball
down
on
and
that.
say, okay, that one was bad, this one was good.
So then why can't you go and sign it again then? Just to make
They
sure.
don't allow that. They will allow you to. They will allow you in that or to challenge it on the regular vote, but not on when you turn in petitions or qualifying something for a recall.
That's kind of messed up. They should at least notify the person that signed it or sent it in that Roy's signature sucked and he needs to redo it. You know what I mean?
I would
that
agree
makes
with
it
you,
harder.
but that's, politicians don't
See,
want.
this is why I don't like politics. It's all stupid and it pisses me off.
This is your
This
government.
is why I think of apples and dark chocolate chips.
And if you don't pay attention to that, there may be a day when you won't even be thinking of that because you'll be grabbing gnats out of the air trying to survive.
I already do that. So, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding.
We did the story earlier. If you want to check it out, wrestler Tyler Rex becomes trans female.
It's still
Gabby
not digging the name.
Tough of that on the let's see if we can scroll it up. There's the picture of his wrestling self and his new self as Gabby.
I don't get the
Gabe
card
Tough.
thing with
I
the number
get
2, and then there was a child holding a 3, like second identity or something.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, so two genders love it as kind of what I'm getting on.
Oh, look at you
Oh,
using that noggin. I didn't know you had one. Go figure.
wow.
I'm just kidding. Totally just messing. But no, that I didn't even put that together. Shocker. I said it for you. I'm psychic. I read minds. You know that?
Yeah, that's a whole, hey, whatever trips this trailer. Like I said, I just wonder how much it cost him to have a rack like that built.
Okay, so me and Steven were doing some talking in the comments during the show earlier. There's a shadow, and we believe that it's probably stuffed. We want proof.
Well, he probably made I'm
evidence.
assuming he made a lot of money during the wrestling. I mean, if he was smart enough to bank some of it, he could drop 10 or 20K on a
I don't think it would cost that much.
Well, he could.
I mean, if you get the fancy, like,
Yeah,
little
I mean,
squishy, like, memory foam.
There you go. They've got. How deeply have you studied this particular?
I'm just saying. We're patenting that. Those shelf. Screw you, my pillow. We got memory foam. Okay, never mind. I'm going to go ahead and get our guest on the line. Stop talking.
Of that. No, we got more of the stuff on that going on. Yeah, that was another bizarre story that was going on. We did the kids, the teenagers who were actually pulling the engine out of or putting a new engine in their Dodge Charger on that, and how today's society, what most teenage boys did before there were video games. And go on, check it out. For those of you listening on KMET, go check it out on our IE Newswire, on our timeline of that. And look at my contacts for Steve Evans of that. That ain't the right number, but no, it's a tale of two worlds of that, and the old days of, back in the Great Depression, when they played the financial games and stuff of that, and the bankers were trying to sell the farmers' property, they showed up with guns at the auction and said, Joe's property that he got back for like $2.50, and anybody that was going to bid higher was going to be either beat the crap out of or maybe shot. And the banker said, I like that offer very well. Shows you the difference between societies as our society has evolved to the video game society, and nobody wants to do anything. But there is a little bit of hope, hopefully, on that.
See, there you go.
And why I wanted to bring this guy on is an example of never quit. Don't get mired down in the circumstances, or say you can't do anything, because not only is this guy probably, well, he's the only guy I know in Southern California that ran speedway bike races in 2020 amongst all this stuff under some very challenging circumstances. I don't know how he's did it. He's opening up a new speedway, or part of it that's opening up in the Bakersfield at Kern County Raceway on that. On top of that, with all this madness going on, but we're bringing the great promoter from Perris Raceway, the speedway track out there, Steve Evans. Welcome to IE Newswire with Steph and Roy.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
And I can't give you enough kudos for keeping speedway going and keeping your track running all through 2020 of that, and providing some great racing and entertainment for us out there on that. But even to step up to the plate and start working field in these times, I mean, that takes a big pair in my book.
Well, thanks for that. Yeah, I mean, hard to know what to say to that, but we're basically we're basically in it. We're basically in this for the long haul, and of course, there's plenty of race venues out there, and I know particularly in the Inland Empire, there's a huge racing fan base for both cars and bikes, and each track has its own very unique circumstances, and times like this, they work for some, and they don't work for others. But we've just found ways to keep racing safely, of course, and to somehow make it just about viable, so we can not go broke in the process.
Yeah, like I say, I got to give you props for doing that, because I mean, whether it's circumstantial or everybody else, the racing, especially in the promotion game, that's dicey as best. I mean, that, and then to pull it off in the time of 2020 when a lot of couldn't, shouldn't, or wouldn't have, and like I say, you stepped up to the plate on that, and then obviously again, trying to expand the speedway motorcycle racing venues across California starting in 2021. Tell us a little bit about I know you've been having some practices up there. Tell us a little bit what's coming in before we talk about the race tomorrow at Perris. Tell us what's happening up there at Kern Raceway up in Bakersfield.
Yeah, well, basically, this is a venue that's been on my radar for quite some time. It's a fantastic facility. Anyone that travels about would see this track. It's kind of just in the middle of nowhere, really, on I-5. And it's a huge motorsport complex. There's a half-mile paved NASCAR oval. Behind turn 3 and 4, there's a third of a mile sprint car dirt track. And the motorcycle track for speedway and flat track is inside of that. They also have a motocross track there that's reopening, and they just have tons of space, so you can accommodate everybody safely in these times. And I don't think there's any houses within miles, so things like noise and curfew are a little less of a problem, because when you're close to houses, you've got to be respectful and keep everybody happy. So I got hired. Some of my crew and myself got hired about almost 2 years ago to work on a race there. They had a motorcycle race as part of this big car show they had. So my crew ran that race. We liked the facility, and it's been on our radar since then. And of course, I think right now the whole racing industry market has changed. So when we reached back out to the owners in the fall last year, they were very receptive, and in a very short space of time, we've gone from private testing to full-scale practices, and we may be racing as early as February 20th. We'll know by Tuesday of next week. We're right now building a brand new crash wall, and if we can get all of our work done in time, we'll go racing in Bakersfield on February 20th with speedway and flat track. If we don't quite make that deadline, we'll do a practice on that day instead, and we'll go racing a month later. So it's kind of all happened very quickly, but the racetrack's great, the facility's great, and there's just a lot of support. So when people are behind you, you can make it work.
Absolutely, but we do know tomorrow there's going to be a big race. The Perris Championships out at Perris Raceway tomorrow. Of course, it's probably going to be the last appearance from Brock Nickel and Luke Becker before they head head over to Europe and that. But the Rumble brothers will be there, and I think you cooked us up with an interview on the day before his last 250 ride. But I think Will Hancock's going to make his 500cc debut out there tonight. Give us a preview.
Yeah, it's a very good event. In fact, it's actually two races in one, because at 4:00 we have all of our supporting classes, which is quite a lot of bikes. We have our non-professional speedway classes, our junior classes, our sidecars, flat track bikes, hooligan bikes, and TT races. That's at 4, and then we'll probably get that done by about 6, and then we'll have an hour to completely relay the track. And at 7:00 we have the AMA National Pairs Championship, and it's a cool event because there's a national championship on the line for speedway, but it's a bit different to regular races, because rather than racing for yourself, you race with a partner all night long. So it's you and someone else in each race against another two-man team, or I should say two-person team, because we've got one female rider in the show. And they score points in their heats, and after 4 rounds of heats, we'll take the top 4 out of 10 teams to contest semifinals and finals. So it's going to be a really cool event. It's the way that we do racing in England with teams, which is a bit different to normal.
And I think and we had Sarah Cords on too. That is Will Hancock going to be teamed up with Sarah Cords? I know that was kind of in the works, but is that still in?
Yeah, Wilbur Hancock is paired with Sarah Cords, so they're certainly going to have some interesting rides. They've got a couple of young hot shots in their first race. Kyle Cunningham from Northern California, who's on a fast rise, and a guy and his teammate is Michael Wells. Next time out, they've got a strong NorCal team of Blake Barello and Chris Kerr. Then in their third ride, they have the Wiley veterans of Eddie Castro and Buck Blair. And then if that wasn't hard enough, they rounded out against they have their last race against the current defending champions of Brock Nickel and Luke Becker, who after this event will be making plans to head over to Europe to resume their professional summer racing over there.
There you go. Yes, it's absolutely fantastic of what's going on out there. I mean, like I say, this should, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is going to be probably the last ride for until the end of the year when they come back out for the AMA Championships, with probably the last appearance from Luke and Brock out there at Perris Raceway or in Southern California.
Yeah, I know that Luke is definitely gonna wind it down after this one. I haven't spoke with Brock. We may get Brock out to the Bakersfield opener. We may not. I mean, obviously, I'm just thrilled that they come and race over here in their off season. It's as professional riders in the big leagues in Europe, they certainly don't have to race in California, but they do. And I think they like to be amongst their friends, and they like their fans to see them on the pay-per-view that we have. So I'm stoked that they're coming. And of course, when they go back, we'll miss them. But there's plenty of talent in the works right now.
Yes, it is. It'll be a very exciting race out there tomorrow night. I think there's a pay-per-view link. We posted it in there, but give them the parameters of where they can watch it on pay-per-view of the great race out there at Perris Raceway tomorrow. Go, Steve.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, unfortunately, because of state protocols and regulations, we're not able to open the grandstands for spectators yet. But we have brought you pay-per-view. So the website is extremespeedwayracingAction.tv, which is xsra.tv, and I think the stream is $15. And this time we have the pre-show is not going to be streamed live. So it's just going to be the main show from 7. So you'll get a good 2.5 hours of world-class speedway, 24 races for your $15. So we certainly encourage everyone to have a night in, get some food and get some drinks in, and watch some racing at home.
Yes, watch some of that. You're going to do that. You'll see an absolutely fantastic show with all the stars of Speedway motorcycle racing, all out at Perris Raceway. I gotta keep saying that. Tomorrow night, the one on the east end of Paris, the old one that's been there since about the 50s is when I think they started that. But thanks again, Steve, for providing us with the racing and all much success, and because you deserve it. Because man, I know you put in a lot of hard work each and every day for probably pennies on the dollar.
You could say, yeah, but I mean, just the good support that we get, and I know that both you and Stephanie really, really, promote the hell out of what we do. So you're very appreciated. It really takes a team, and any accolades that you give to me is really to a whole network of crew and volunteers and sponsors, because to keep racing going right now when we've lost our biggest revenue source of paid spectators is it's quite a fine art, but we're thrilled we've made it work.
You got it.
Awesome. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, much success tomorrow night and in the future. And again, go out to go sign up for the pay-per-view and watch the race on there. You'll have an absolutely fantastic time. Thanks for being on, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. I'll see you soon. Cheers.
You got it. I mean,
love his accent.
I think he's from New Zealand, Australia, something like that, overseas of doing that. But I know he's from over there, and there's probably nobody that works harder at the racing business, especially the promoter end of it, than Steve Evans. And like you say, he basically almost single-handedly gave us, at least last year and the beginning of this year, a Speedway motorcycle racing season to at least keep that part of the sport alive.
And 24 races for $15 on pay-per-view. That's pretty good.
Yes.
Have a nice little barbecue.
There you go.
Drink a couple cold ones, whether it's apple juice or beer. Eat some apples and dark chocolate chips with peanut butter.
Wow. Of that.
I'm stuck on that.
I can see.
And in and out.
Just on that, and flip up number 4 on that. Here's in Bloomberg. When will life return to normal? ? In 7 years at today's vaccine rates. Our new calculator shows how long it will take states and countries to vaccinate 75% of their populations. Tom Randall, when will the pandemic end? It's a question hanging over just about everything since COVID-19 took over the world last year. Bloomberg has built the biggest database of COVID-19 shots given around the world, with more than 119 million doses administered worldwide. U.S. science officials such as Anthony Fauci have suggested it will take 70 to 85%, down from 90 the other day, coverage of the population for things to return to normal. Bloomberg's vaccine tracker shows that some countries are making far more rapid progress than others using the 75% coverage target. Israel will go with the highest vaccination rate in the world, is headed to 75% coverage. The U.S. will get there just in time to ring in 2022.
What?
So even as we're standing, and even as the advanced country of that, or we're getting more vaccine of that, and even some places are down to 7 years, Bloomberg, which has built the biggest database of distributing the vaccine, is saying we will not get to the 75% plus range till 2022.
But do we need to be at 75% to open up everything and have a life again?
According to Anthony Fauci, that's the minimum.
Screw him. Why the hell is he still in there?
I really hope.
Oh my gosh, that was bad. Sorry.
That attitude permeates to a majority of Americans of that. Because
it does. You just don't see it.
Look, Trump was basically, or had pretty much...
That was all rigged.
He pretty much... You didn't see the last 3 or 4 months, you didn't see Anthony Fauci out there. Soon as Joe Biden got in, and he said, I'm putting Anthony Fauci back in charge of the whole COVID thing, making $400,000 plus per year, just on that gig. No, who knows how much more he's getting from National Health Services or whatever the acronym is at and everything else. He's putting Fauci in charge. Fauci's been saying this stuff. Everybody else. And this is what y'all voted. Starting with Gavin Newsom.
But we didn't vote for it because we voted. I think a lot of people voted for Trump, and that didn't work out right. So you got to stop saying we voted for it, because even if we voted for it,
are you saying the election was stolen?
Yeah.
Wow, you're one of those right-wing nut conspiracists. That they've been saying of all, that they've been browbeating on the whole thing. There's
you kind of trained me to be that way.
There's a Time magazine.
I think it really was, though, in a sense.
Time magazine article, and maybe we'll get into it Monday, but it just came out. This Time magazine, again, not part of the vast right-wing conspiracy. They're coming out with how they got Biden elected. They're telling you how they got the state legislators to change the rules, and in a lot of cases unconstitutionally. To change the rules, get this whole mail-in ballot thing using COVID as an excuse, because you know what? This is what they wanted. They want you. We've had Mason. Maybe we'll see if we can get Mason back on. Maybe he's kind of settled down a little. They want you. You are the new slaves. They are going to be the plantation owners, and they're doing this. That's why they're consolidating the power and the businesses and everything else. So they're all much easier. But the more you consolidate power, the easier it is to corrupt, and that's what they're doing. Of all this stuff, they're concentrating it in a few banks, a few businesses. You got that? If you look at Parler, we don't want you on social media. Boop 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 boop. You're gone.
Exactly.
And that's what it's now coming out. Time magazine is putting this whole thing. Now they're trying to spin it as though we wanted to stop Trump and Trump was an evil person, Trump was trying to stop this crap of that. And again, all of you that are out there that think it's stolen. I don't know if he's going to do it. I hope the impeachment hearings are going to start next Wednesday, Tuesday, the 9th, I think, whenever that is. I hope he comes out, because they made the allegation that he was spreading false, that the election was stolen and all this, and that wasn't true. And that's kind of what the Time magazine article was saying. Well, that's why establishment Republican big businesses joined with Democrats to put Biden and the Democrats in power of that, because they're the ones that are trying to keep you on the plantation, under your thumb, knee on your neck, all of that. And the impetus of that just came out in Time magazine. This is not on Twitter or somebody posting on a website or fact check this and of arguing. Start arguing.
Do we trust Time magazine?
Well, they're part of the cabal. I mean, they've been around for
I know they've been around forever, but I don't trust anyone anymore, so I don't know. I mean, really, though. Do you think it's factual?
Well, yeah, they said it. They were doing it. It's called hiding in plain sight. You just gotta open your eyes. It's like with the schools and everything else. You gotta open your eyes to where the problem is. And if you keep denying it, you're just gonna keep, your schools are gonna remain closed, and you're gonna be a serf, and this thing is not gonna be very pretty when it all crashes. But we'll be back on Monday.
Go to recallgavin2020.org.
.com. How much you want to bet on that?
Care about some money? Maybe apples and.
We'll bet it, because it's .com. We'll be back on Monday, as we do, kicking off the week on that. But enjoy your weekend. Go out to buy the pay-per-view on Perris Raceway. Enjoy that. There's a little game coming on called the Super Bowl. Hope Tom Brady wins again. That's the only thing I care about. Until then, we're gone.
The proceeding was a...
All right, guys, take care. Have a good weekend.
You got it. We'll talk to you in a moment.